Make Better Documents. Hi, I'm Cassandra from Make Better Documents. In this video series, we're going to take a look at documents. We're going to look at 3 good things about the document and 3 things that could be better. In today's episode, we're going to take a look at a music program for a concert. We'll start by looking at the whole program. So we've got a cover, an introductory page, information about the music that's been played, information about the conductors, each of the musicians, and a list of sponsors. The first thing that's really good about this document is the simplicity in the design. They didn't overcomplicate things. And I would assume that this was set up as a template, so then every time you have another performance, you can easily swap out the date and time, and you can swap out each of the different musicians. And then in that way, your program would make itself. The second good thing about this is knowing its context and then following along. So it's a music program. They made sure in the middle of the book to put each of the pieces of music. I know that that sounds really obvious, but sometimes the really obvious stuff gets missed. It's really important to think, what is my document for? Who is it for? What's it about? What's it trying to achieve? And making sure you do it. So music program, having the pieces of music, pretty obvious, but it's a good thing about this document. Then following along, same train of thought is people want to see the performers' names. So in here, they've listed all of the performers' names. And then something that I thought was a bit interesting with this was they actually chose to put the musicians alphabetically by first name. I think that makes sense in that maybe you don't necessarily know the musician's surname, so you wouldn't look for them by surname, you would look for them by first name. Something that I think that would be better has to do with this band at the bottom of this page. So I understand there's this balance to be had where you don't want your content to be too close to the bottom because it could get trimmed off. But in this instance, I think that the band is just a little bit too big and it's made the rest of the content quite crammed on the page. I think it would have been better if they just knocked just a couple of mil off there, had this text more centered vertically in the space. And by doing that, it would allow the rest of the content to have its own space. The second thing that could be better is to do with the sponsors logos. Now, I understand why they're here, it's great. The thing about logos is they're all designed to really get your attention. And so a way of dealing with that when you have to place a lot of logos together, which is very common, is to just use the black and white versions of the logos or the grayscale versions of the logos. And then each of them will just be that little bit muted, a little bit less grabbing your attention. And also the logos don't have to be anywhere near this big on the back. It would have been fine if they were half that size. The third thing that I think would be better has to do with font size. And in particular sort of context. So I was reading this in the very dark room where the concert was going, and it was very hard to read some of this text like in the actual environment. It's fine once I'm home and I've got the full light on it, but I do remember it being very hard to read this quite small text in the environment with which I was reading this. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Make better documents, making the world a more beautiful place, one document at a time.